How we doing, everybody? UFC Thoughts here, and today I'm going to be going over my picks and breakdown for every fight on UFC Denver. Namajunas vs. Cortez on July 13th, 2024. Let's get right into it with the first fight of 12. We start with Evan Elder vs. Darius Flowers. This fight just got made yesterday, so cool. I just did a quick sum up of it. I'm going with Evan Elder by second round submission. When I'm looking at this fight is at welterweight. Both of these guys fight at lightweight. That is the weight class that they both prefer to fight at. We've seen both these guys fight at welterweight before. Darius fought Jake Matthews at 291. I actually saw that in person. And Evan fought Preston Parsons. What card was this? It was Lemos Andrade on short notice against Preston Parsons, and he kind of got fucked up. But when I'm looking at both these guys, like careers since then, we've seen Evan Elder have a really competitive fight with Nazim Salikov, actually being up 2 rounds on Nazim Salikov, which is pretty fucking sick, because Nazim Salikov is a guy a lot of people are being like, watch out for this dude, Nazim Salikov, he's a really fucking cool guy. He beat Terrence McKinney by sub afterwards. He had the draw with Vyacheslav Borshev. And Evan Elder was not tuning him up, but he dropped him. And then in his third fight, he fought Genaro Valdez, and he kind of pissed on him besides the knockdown Genaro got. And with Darius Flowers, both his fights, he got wrestled by Michael Johnson. He got controlled for damn near a whole round. I think at elevation, Darius is going to be breathing really heavy, real quick with extra weight on. He didn't get a full training camp, neither did Evan, but I hope Evan's been training. That's what I'm basing this off of. I just think that Evan is going to be able to gas out Darius quick with some wrestling, some grappling. And on the feet, I think Evan is even going to be able to have some success. Darius Flowers' best work is on the feet, of course. But most of his offense flows through his usage of kicks. He has a kind of karate stance, like base stance. He uses a lead side kick to the body a shit ton. He uses it to find range. His punches aren't that great. His right overhand or right hook is his like power punch, I guess you could say, but even then it doesn't really land that often, and his straight punches are pretty bad. They are very slow and labored. I think Evan Elder is going to have a speed advantage, at least on the feet, and he's got a pretty good power. His boxing combinations are good. I like his usage of kicks a little bit more than Darius Flowers, even though Darius may be more technical with his kicks. I just think that Evan is going to have a durability advantage, and if he is able to get it to the ground, we've seen Darius Flowers look like a fish out of water against Jake Matthews and Michael Johnson, and also like 5 of his 7 losses are by sub. Let me recheck that really quick. Yeah, 5 losses by submission. And Evan Elder only has 1 sub, and it was an armbar, so I don't know if he's going to be able to sub him, but we've also seen Evan go for submissions against Genaro Valdez. He immediately jumped on a guillotine that was super tight, and he was lucky that Genaro Valdez was lucky that he actually did like a gator roll. I forget what he went to his back or something that kind of where he had missed the weight, but I just think that Darius Flowers is going to gas out really quick. Short notice fight. Honestly, kind of could be a coin flip depending on who shows up, but I'll go with Evan Elder. We move to Josh Fremd versus Andre Petroski. I'm going to go with Andre Petroski by second round TKO. This is a very weird fight. I think it's going to look very sloppy. We have unranked middleweights going at it. And, man, I just struggle to believe that a guy like Josh Fremd is going to be able to defend takedowns by a guy like Andre Petroski, who shoots so often. I'll tell you what, I am very scared about Andre Petroski's gas tank at elevation. I will tell you that. This could be a fight where you could fade based on someone's gas tank, but I think that Andre Petroski, his style of wrestling, offensive grappling, works so well against Josh Fremd, because Josh Fremd, his takedown defense is like percentages, what is it, like 31%, right? And of course, a lot of people are going to look at his fluffy fight. He got taken down 8 out of 11 times and be like, oh, his percentage is so inflated because of that. But in his next 4 fights, he defended 3 takedowns of 8. So his next 4 opponents went 5 of 8 on takedowns. And none of those guys, if I'm looking, let me re-look at his opponents, because Roman Kopylov didn't shoot a takedown. Like Jamie Pickett, fucking Trayshawn Gore and Jamie Pickett were able to take down Josh Fremd. Like him and Jamie Pickett had a decent fight with each other. Like decently close at certain moments. Like, that's not good. Andre Petroski, I think that Josh Fremd will have an advantage on the feet. I like Josh, some of his components on his feet. I like his jab. He's very rangy. He's going to have a significant reach advantage. I know on stats it's going to say that they have similar reaches, only a 3-inch reach advantage. That's bullshit. Andre is just very wide. Josh Fremd's arms are, you can tell that they are larger. Andre Petroski has T-Rex arms, okay? He just does. Josh Fremd is going to have a significant reach advantage, but I think that Andre Petroski is going to be able to get inside very easily on Josh Fremd because other people have done so. Yeah. I also think that leg kicks can also be a part of Andre's game going into this fight. I think he throws hard leg kicks. His punches are very loopy, and he likes to counter a lot with right hands, which is something that could benefit him, because Josh does get clipped sometimes rushing in for some reason, even though he has a reach advantage. This is also going to be like the 3rd opponent in a row for Josh Fremd that is a southpaw, so he has a significant style. He likes to pat the lead hand of a southpaw. I haven't seen him go against an orthodox fighter, but he likes to pat the lead hand of southpaw, and I think that's going to lead to Andre being able to time him when he's reaching in to pat the hand for a double leg. So yeah, I think that both these guys are going to gas out, but I think his game plan is going to work a little bit better, and he's going to be able to get takedowns. I think he might be able to TKO ground and pound Josh Fremd in round 2. So it's a very tricky fight though. We move to Luana Santos versus Maria Agapova. I'm going to go with Luana Santos by 1st or 2nd round submission. I just think that it's the only really way you can look at this fight for Luana to win, at least. I think that this fight's going to be weird for the first couple of minutes. Maria Agapova, her stand-up, she's going to have a speed advantage over Luana Santos, but I think Luana Santos hits harder, and I also think that Maria's going to have the technical advantage as well. Luana Santos is a little bit wild on the feet, but where I think Luana is going to excel really well in this fight is going to be the judo department. She is a black belt in judo. Her throws have worked on Stephanie Egger. She TKO'd Juliana Miller on the feet, if I remember that correctly. And Maria Agapova, she slows down pretty quick. Her gas tank isn't too great. And the 2 losses we've seen in the UFC from her she's lost 3 times, but 2 of the 3 losses have been by sub, right? Jillian Robertson and Marina Moroz. And then Shanna Dobson ground and pound TKO'd her in the 2nd round. All of her finishes that she's won, besides the Sabina Mazo, have been in the 1st round. She also got a 3rd round, what was it? Armbar in 2017. So I think that Luana Santos is just going to excel in the grappling department. And also, I don't know if you guys know this, Maria Gapova hasn't fought in like over 2 years. I think is coming up on it, 2 years. Is that right? I think that's right. Yeah, 2022 in September. So she hasn't fought in fucking ages. Luana Santos is going back down to flyweight. A lot of people are going to look at her performance against Stephanie Egger and see the holes that she had and be like, oh, she slowed down so fast. She took that on super short notice, and she missed weight, so she gassed out even quicker. I think she's younger. I think she's going to have a size advantage over Maria Agapova. And Maria Agapova, her only 2 wins in the UFC have been against super subpar competition in Hannah Cifers and Sabina Mazo. Sabina Mazo isn't that bad, but Hannah Cifers is pretty dog shit. I And also, I don't know if you guys saw this, according to fucking Guru, Maria's had a rough last couple of, like, months or a year or so. She's had, like, a bunch of personal issues, according to, like, Kazakhstani people around her. So, yeah, I don't know. I also think her takedown defense is pretty shit. So I think Luana Santos is going to be able to critically go after her in the grappling sense. So, yeah. What's her takedown defense numbers? 48. So, yeah. I think she's gonna get toasted in the grappling, probably get subbed early. We move to Montel Jackson versus Damone Blackshear. I'm gonna go with Damone Blackshear by unanimous decision, 29-28. I think the major difference that we're gonna see in this fight, both of these guys are coming off pretty long layoffs. I think that Damone Blackshear's pressure and his overall output is what's going to really affect Montel Jackson. Montel Jackson, you'll see him exceed really well against lower level competition when it's him controlling the pace. Montel, he is kind of low output. He really, he understands the grappling as well. He's kind of low output. He usually just uses his hands. His jab is very nice, but he does overextend at times, and I think that's where Damone is going to be able to have major success with his takedowns. I think we've also seen Damone Blackshear just be able to grapple and also control better people than a guy like Montel Jackson, like Farid Basharat and Mario Bautista, which you could argue he beat Mario Bautista on 7 days fucking notice. But I think Montel Jackson is very underrated. I think he's a guy a lot of people overlook because he's been unranked and unbeaten for like 5 years or something, but he's also kind of inactive. He also isn't fighting the best competition. Who's the best guy that, like, he's fought? Like, his last fight was against Ronnie Yaha, is what I remember. But, like, who's the best guy he's beat? Like, it's like Brian Kelleher? I don't know. Maybe Julio Arce is probably who his best win is against. Yeah, I don't know. I think at elevation, this fight is also taking place on short notice, and I think Damone Blackshear, I think he's been more adjusted to taking fights on short notice. Montel Jackson, he also is just, I think, like I said, I think the pressure, I think the pace, I think the output of Damone Blackshear is going to exceed very well. Montel Jackson does well when he controls the pace, like I said, when it's low output, when he is the one that's firing first, not when someone is constantly throwing shit in your face, trying to grapple with you. I think Montel is strong, but I think that he's going to fade, and I think that Montel Jackson is probably, not Montel Jackson, I think Damone Blackshear is going to control most of this fight. I think Montel might be able to drop Damone Blackshear. Montel Jackson, his knockdown numbers are like, he has 10 knockdowns in the UFC. They are a bit inflated due to him knocking down JP Bays like 4 or 5 times or some shit, and he still didn't finish him. But he does hit very hard, and he has the ability to catch Damone Blackshear at any moment in the fight, so it should be a good one, but I think Damone Blackshear will control a majority of it. We move to Jasmine Jasudavicius versus Fatima Klein. I'm going to go with Jasmine Jasudavicius by unanimous decision, 30-27. Here's my problem with this fight. Fatima Klein, from her tape, she looks pretty good, right? She does look pretty good. My only issue is that she has not fought someone over the height of 5'3" in her entire career. Of her 6 wins, two of which have been atomweights, who have fought at atomweight, which you don't know is 105 pounds. Her last opponent she fought was an atomweight. When was the last time she fought? Last time she fought was not too long ago. It was February. But she is a strawweight who's moving up in weight class to fight Jasmine Jasudavicius, who is a big girl for flyweight. Jasmine Jasudavicius is a big fucking flyweight. So Fatima Klein's like a big strawweight. 5'6", at strawweight's pretty fucking big. I'll tell you what, Fatima Klein, when she moves back down to strawweight, she is going to present problems for these girls. But against Jasmine Jasudavicius, who, Fatima Klein, her whole thing is grappling. Jasmine Jasudavicius has an 80% takedown defense. The only people that have been able to take her down, stats-wise, in her UFC career have been Natalia Silva and Kay Hansen. which were her 2 first fights in the UFC. So these were 2 years ago. Since then, Gabby Fernandez, Miranda Maverick, Tracy Cortez, and Priscilla Cachoeira, neither 4 of those girls have been able to that's racist, I'm sorry, have been able to take down Jasmine Jasudavicius. I don't think Fatima Klein's going to be able to. Fatima Klein, she's getting a lot of hype right now because she's like a main training partner or sparring partner for Erin Blanchfield. And I'll tell you what, Fatima Klein, honestly, she looks a bit better on the feet than like Erin Blanchfield does too. I think Fatima Klein, she's young, she's 23. I think her and Erin Blanchfield are like best friends. I think Erin Blanchfield honestly should go back down, or not go back down, but go down to strawweight as well. I think she would have way better fights there. But anyways, back to Fatima Klein. I think that this fight is going to be based on Fatima not fighting bigger competition. She's fighting small people. When she's the bigger person, how is she going to do when she's the smaller person fighting a bigger person who is able to go 3 rounds, who has an insane gas tank? Jasmine Jasudavicius' gas tank is fucking incredible, and Fatima Klein's taking this on short notice. She did have a fight booked, so she's not going to gas immediately, and she does have good cardio herself, but I think that Jasmine Jasudavicius is going to be able to do more in the rounds, win at 30-27. We move to Joshua Van versus Charles Johnson. This fight, I'm going to go with Joshua Van, and like, this fight's very interesting to me. A lot of people are willy-nilly picking Joshua Van in this fight, and I get it, because I'm also doing this. But I think this fight, honestly, is very interesting due to it being at elevation and Charles Johnson having incredible cardio. Now, of course, we've seen him get tired before, right? Like against, was it Ode Osborne that got him tired? But that's because he grappled a bunch. You only see Charles Johnson get super duper tired when he's grappling a shit ton, and Joshua Van is not, he shoots takedowns, don't get me wrong, Joshua Van does go for takedowns sometimes, but he isn't really a takedown guy like a Cody Durden or an Azamat Maksum or a Jake Hadley. So, Jake Hadley, Jesus, what the fuck's up with that? But I do think that Joshua Van is going to look better on the feet. I think he is. And I think Charles Johnson just, I don't know if he has the striking credentials I like against a guy like Joshua Van. I also don't like how his takedown, like, what his fucking numbers are, man. Like, this dude's takedown accuracy is like 29%. 23%. If anything, Joshua Van might be able to get takedowns on him, right? I don't know. I think Joshua Van, he isn't only a headhunter. He actually goes to the body a bunch, which I fucking love about Joshua Van. He lands 9 strikes per minute. That against a guy like Charles Johnson, who we've seen get knocked down before. He does have a chin, but he has been knocked down a couple of times. I don't know. He eats 3 strikes per minute. I think Joshua Van's cardio is just as good as Charles Johnson. I like Joshua Van in this fight. I think if he mixes up to the body, it'll hurt Charles Johnson even more, maybe even get him more tired. I think if Joshua Van is able to get in the clinch a little bit with him, I think that'll also help him. The only guys we've seen Charles Johnson completely dominate in the octagon have been Jake Hadley and Jimmy Flick, right? Like, they aren't great guys, right? We've seen Joshua Van fight younger dudes, like a Kevin Borjas, like a Felipe Bunes. So, yeah, I think that Joshua Van, even though he has shorter arms, even though Charles Johnson's going to have a height and reach advantage, I think Joshua Van has the skill set to get it done across 3 rounds at elevation on short notice. Joshua Van also was training for a fight. Maybe the double weight cut might get him, though. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe the double weight cut will affect Joshua Van, but I like Joshua Van a lot. And I want him to win, so I'm going to pick him. We move to the start of the main card. Abdul Razak Alhassan versus Cody Brundage. Oh, man. Dude, this fight is so tricky. I'll go with Cody Brundage. Even saying that fucking hurts. This fight, dude. Oh, man. I really don't know. This is like, dude, when I say fights are 50, this fight is so dumb to try and predict. Because, like, it really depends on which version of either of these guys shows up. Because we've Abdul Razak, Alhassan, and Cody Brundage, we've seen both these guys have different versions of themselves where they look like dog shit, and then they'll have fights where they get like a 50-second KO, right? Like, I think at Elevation, Abdul is now 38 years old. I forget that he is that old every time I see it. Holy shit. Is he actually 38? He's 38. We know his gas tank isn't great. Neither is Cody's, but I think Cody's is a bit better than Abdul. I think Cody Brundage, his takedown attempts, he's got like a 50% takedown accuracy. And Abdul Razak Alhassan outside of the first round is not good. Legit, of his 12 wins, all 12 of his wins are by KO, by the way. I'll just say that. All 12 of his wins are by KO. 11 of those are in the first round. And a majority of them, how many of those were in the first, like, minute and a half? 17 seconds, 43 seconds, 3 minutes 47, 4 minutes 21, 53, 57, 40, 1 minute 26, 47, a minute 23, 25, right? This guy, the only fight he won past the first round was against Claudio Ribeiro, and he knocked him out 28 seconds into the second round. He's been subbed before. He's been KO'd before. He loses a lot. He's lost every decision he's gone to, right? It's at Elevation. Cody is going to grapple, and even then I think Cody has a bit of a speed advantage. But if someone's going to get knocked out in this fight, it is going to be, if someone is going to get a knockout, rather, it will be Abdul Razak Alhassan, I believe. Cody can knock him out. Abdul has been KO'd before stiff, of course, by Chaos Williams, which is the only time he's ever been KO'd, and Cody Brundage does not hit as hard as Chaos, but he does have a couple of KOs on his own record, and he has a couple of submissions on his record, right? This fight is legit a coin flip. Both these guys suck, but I will take Cody Brundage across 3 rounds at Elevation, for sure. We move to Julian Arosa versus Christian Rodriguez. I'm going to go with Christian Rodriguez, but hear me out. I think this fight's way harder than what people are saying. And this could backfire on me, if I'm being honest, because it could just be Christian Rodriguez knocks him out in the first round, because that is something that happens with Julian Arosa. But Julian Arosa, for some reason, beats good people. I don't know what it is. He's beaten guys like Nate Landwehr, Jamal Emmers, Sean Woodson. Like, he's the only person to beat Sean Woodson, I believe. Is that right? Because I think Sean Woodson only has 1 loss, right? Yeah, he's the only person to ever beat fucking Sean Woodson. He also beats guys like Charles Jourdain and Hakeem Dawodu, right? But he's chinny, but he's good. He does good shit. Not good shit. He does weird shit, but he's good on the ground. He's got great submission threats. Has he been submitted in his career? No. I don't think Christian Rodriguez is going to... I think Christian Rodriguez has to make this a dogfight. He's going to have to drag it 3 rounds, and he's going to have to get in the face of Julian Arosa. And I don't think Julian Arosa doesn't really... Does he knock people out with his hands? Not in the UFC, at least. In the UFC, he's like flying knees and submissions. Dude, if Julian Arosa beats Christian Rodriguez, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. Because fucking Isaac Dolgarian, Raul Rosas, and fucking Cameron Simon couldn't, I guess. Like, I honestly think this fight's going to be close. I think Christian Rodriguez is going to make it a dog fight, win it across 3 rounds. He's going to get in the face. He's going to work the body. He's going to try and chin Julian Arosa. Christian Rodriguez has an insane gas tank, and I think that's what's going to take him to win this fight. Because Julian Arosa, of the 9 decisions he's went to, he's lost at least 4 of them, right? Yeah. Christian Rodriguez, the only person that's ever beat him was, get up, boy. Oh, yeah, it was fucking Jonathan Pierce. which is a good, not even that bad of a loss to have, because Jonathan Pierce is good. But, like, yeah, I don't know. I hope Christian Rodriguez makes it a dogfight, gets at the gas tank of Julian Arosa, or he could just KO him in the first round. Who fucking knows with Julian Arosa, because he's like another guy that's like, he looks good one fight and then he gets chinned a minute into the next. So I'll go with Christian Rodriguez by unanimous decision, 30-27. We move to Gabriel Bonfim versus Angelusa. I'm going to go with Gabriel Bonfim by first round submission. And this fight is interesting again. Angelusa is kind of touted for his durability. He's very durable. He went 3 rounds with that Jack Della Maddalena fight. His last fight, he didn't look really that great, and I know that was against Brian Battle, of course. But Gabriel Bonfim kind of uses a strategy that Brian Battle used in that Angelusa fight that exceeded well, which was just in-your-face pressure style of fighting, and Angelusa kind of struggled really hard against that, and it was mostly because Brian's bigger than him, which is something that we've also seen from Angelusa, is that he struggles with super bigger opponents, besides Rhys McKee, but that's because Rhys McKee's dog shit. But even then, in that third round, Rhys McKee started to pour it on him, but that's besides the point. Gabriel Bonfim, what I'm picking him by sub for is Angelusa, even though he's never been subbed. What I've seen him, he has a tendency to do is leave his neck in clinch positions. He leaves it under the opponent's armpit a shit ton. He did it so many times in the Brian Battle fight. And Gabriel Bonfim, if you give him the opportunity to pull guillotine, he's going to pull it, and he has a gnarly fucking guillotine. He is one of the nastiest sub threats in this welterweight division, unranked-wise at least, and he's going to pull that whenever he fucking feels like it. And Angelusa, he leaves openings there all the time in clinch positions because he crashes into people so much. Even though he has long arms, he crashes into people. And he leaves his neck out there. And I think that Gabriel Bonfim is just going to take advantage of that. 12 submission wins, guys. This guy's a marauder, man. I think that Gabriel's going to be able to sub him. And on the feet even, Gabriel's wild and sporadic. And Angelusa really does well against people who aren't wild and sporadic. He does significantly well when people are patient, like a Rhys McKee, where he's able to actually find his footing and able to do stuff. And I think that Gabriel Bonfim isn't like that. And I think that's going to cause problems for him. Yeah, I don't know. I think that Gabriel's going to get a sub early. I think he's going to take down at least Angelusa. Even though Angelusa has great takedown defense, I think he's going to threaten it a couple of times. That's going to make him think. And it's going to make both of them waste energy. And I don't like either of these guys when they're tired. They both make mistakes, but I'll pick Gabriel Bonfim even if that scenario comes along. We move to the featured fight. Drew Dober versus John Silva. I'm going to pick John Silva. Hear me out. Hear me out, man. I think John Silva is just, he's on the rise. He's 27 years old. His 2 performances have been against Weston Wilson, who we've seen get a win in the UFC now. Not a total can. But his other win against Charles Jourdain is super impressive, because he's the first guy to ever KO Charles Jourdain. And now he's going up a weight class, so he's going to have even more power and less of a weight cut, less of a draining of his soul. And he's going to fight a guy like Drew Dober, who's fought in so many wars, who has been KO'd before. And I like John Silva in this fight. I wish it wasn't short notice, even though this fight would have never happened if it wasn't short notice, but that's besides the point. Excuse me. I think John Silva, he's patient. And I think John Silva has a chin enough. I think he's got a good enough chin to hang in there with a guy like Drew Dober. And also, something I like about John Silva is he also does have subs in his back pocket. He does have those, even though he hasn't gotten a sub since 2021. He has those in his back pocket. The Fighting Nerds, I don't know what it is. These guys just seem unstoppable right now. And John Silva looked incredible against Charles Jourdain. Charles Jourdain really couldn't do anything, And Charles Jourdain is a more technical striker, I'd say, than Drew Dober. And also, it's a featherweight going up to lightweight. The skill gap, I think, is a present thing here, even though it is short notice. Jones Silva, I really like him as a prospect. If you guys watch my prospects videos, you know I'm super high on this guy. I think he's next up. And Drew Dober, you know, the last guy that he beat was Ricky Glenn. He got beat by Hanato across rounds. He got knocked out by Matt Favola prior to that. And also, I don't see enough melanin, if I'm being honest, from Jones Silva for me to confidently pick Drew Dober. He's not dark enough for me to pick Drew Dober. I think Jones Silva has really heavy power. I think he's got great takedown defense if Drew Dober even thinks about going to the ground, because Drew Dober does shoot takedowns sometimes. It is something that he does. Jones Silva has great takedown defense and great get-ups. So, yeah, I think Jones Silva is just a better mixed martial artist than Drew Dober. I think it's a little early, and I am a little worried, but I do believe in the boy. I do believe in Jones Silva. Even if he loses, who gives a fuck? It's fucking up a weight class Drew Dober on fucking 2 weeks' notice. We move to the co-main event of the evening. Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Muslim Salikov. Got a couple of old heads scrabbing it out tonight. Santiago Ponzinibbio is who I'm going to go with. I don't know why I phrased that sentence that way. Yeah. I don't know. I don't like either of these guys fighting in 2024, especially fucking Muslim. He's 40 years old. Yeah, I just think Santiago Ponzinibbio is just going to do more and better work during the fight. I think these guys are going to slow down. I like Santiago Ponzinibbio's recent opponents and how well he's doing against them more than Muslim Salikov. Like, in recent memory, Santiago Ponzinibbio had a close fight with Michel Pereira and Jeff Neal, and he was winning. Oh no, Alex Morona was winning, and then he KO'd him, and then Kevin Holland knocked him out. Both of these guys haven't fought. No, Muslim fought this year. He fought Randy Brown, yeah. But, like, before that, he had, like, almost a year hiatus. And he lost against Nicholas Dalby. This dude's last win was 2022 when he knocked out Andre Fialho. Like, join the fucking club, man. I don't know. I think that Santiago is just going to do more work. Muslim is like a not jiu-jitsu, why did I almost say jiu-jitsu? Kung Fu, that's kind of his thing. He throws out of range spinning wheel kicks. I think Santiago's straight punches are going to do the job. I think he's going to have maybe Muslim's kicks are going to be faster, but I think on the feet with the punches, I think Santiago might have a little bit of a speed advantage. I don't know. We haven't seen these guys fight in fucking forever. No, Muslim fought. God, dude, this breakdown is shit. But yeah, I think Santiago is just going to do more work. I like his resume as of recent better than fucking Muslim. I don't know, man. I don't know what you guys want me to do with these fights. This fight is dog shit. Who cares about Santiago Ponzinibbio enough to give him a fucking co-main event of a crowded fight night in 2024? Who gives a fuck? Jesus. We move to the main event. Rose Namajunas versus Tracy Cortez. Woo! I'm going to go Rose. I'm going to go Rose Namajunas. Either really late finish or unanimous decision, like 48-47, 49-46. Yeah, I don't know. I think at elevation, Tracy Cortez is going to slow down significantly quicker than what she usually does. We've seen slower strikers like Jasmine Jasdavicius be able to land straight punches quite a few times on Tracy. Tracy Cortez's boxing is very good. Not very good, but it's decent. And she's pretty quick, but she does leave her chin in the air quite a few times. She is open to head kicks. We saw that in the Jasmine Jasdavicius fight, and she can get taken down. She doesn't even really go for takedowns that much anymore. She didn't go for takedowns in the Jasmine fight, or to my knowledge. I think she went for like a couple, and she didn't get a single one. But, yeah, I just think that this is a terrible matchup at elevation on short notice. I know Tracy had a fight against Miranda Maverick, I think, the week after. But I'm assuming Rose Namajunas went back to Team Elevation for this camp to train with, Kamaru and Justin, just to get that elevation shit going, you know what I mean? So I think Rose, honestly, I think this is going to be an easy fight for her. The first couple rounds, I don't think are going to be that great for her. I think that Tracy is going to expend a lot of energy in those first couple of rounds because Rose is going to, I would assume Rose is going to try and pick a pace in this fight to force Tracy to move around a lot. And Rose Namajunas is quicker than a lot of the previous opponents of Tracy Cortez. She has better striking than a lot of the opponents of previous opponents of Tracy Cortez. I think this is just too much of a high profile fight for Tracy at this point in her career, when she's had razor close fights with Jasmine Jasudavicius, which, don't get me wrong, Jasmine Jasudavicius is good, but like prior to that, her best win is Melissa Gatto, right? Like, the other girls she's beating in the UFC are Justin Kish, Stephanie Egger, and Vanessa Mello. I know she beat Erin Blanchfield, or did she beat or did she lose to Erin Blanchfield? She beat Erin Blanchfield outside of the UFC, but like, she hasn't fought. She's also very inactive. This is going to be, the last time she fought was September of last year. The last time prior to that was May of 2022. So I just think that the inactivity, she's not an active fighter. I just think that Rose's skill set is going to be too much at elevation on short notice against Tracy Cortez. I don't think Tracy, I see some people being like, Tracy's going to ragdoll her. No, she's not. I'm UFC Thoughts. These have been my picks and breakdown for every fight on UFC Denver. Namajunas vs. Cortez on July 13th, 2024. My confident picks reside with Luana Santos, Jasmine Jasudavicius, and Rose Namajunas. Yes, 3 female fights. I know. I'm cooking up a storm. My pre-card my pre-card rating is a 5 out of 10. Yeah, this card's suffered a lot of dropouts. A lot of fights have fell through. Like 2 weeks ago, this card had like 8 fights on it. So it's honestly a miracle that they actually got enough fights to fucking put on an event. So, yeah, I hope this event is better than what I think it's going to be. I think there are some entertaining matchups, but there are some fights on here that are like, I couldn't give a fuck less. Yeah, I'll see you guys after the fights. Peace.